Welcome back. You're tuned into Power Breakfast here on CNBC-TV18. Well, international flights will see a partial resumption starting today. India has struck an interim deal to create an air travel bubble with the United States and France. Now, flights will operate for around a 15-day period. The continuation will depend on further negotiations. India is also engaged with the UK and Germany over resumption of flights. Anu Sharma joins us to fill us in with all these details. Anu.
So India is in advanced level of negotiations with 3 countries, and this is for resumption of international flights that will take place by air bubbles, which are basically one step further to Vande Bharat flights. Now, Vande Bharat flights were for approved categories of citizens. This will also be for approved categories of citizens, but then this will be a special arrangement between 2 countries. So a different model will be applied with a different country. And under that, Air France, for example, is operating 28 flights to Delhi, Bangalore and Mumbai. And this is being done between July 18th and August 1st. Similarly, US carrier, that airline is also operating 18 flights to India, and that is under a special arrangement that India has worked out with the US. Lufthansa has also made a similar request, and discussions are on with other countries as well. Now, remember, quarantine rules, the kind of virus situation that will prevail, and the domestic demand, because India has said that domestic demand has to pick up to at least 50 to 55%. That is when some kind of decision can be taken on resumption of normal international flights. And if we talk about the fare cap scenario, the earlier perception was that it would end on August 24th. But then given the current muted scenario of demand in domestic sector, the Civil Aviation Ministry said that there is a possibility that that fare cap may be extended for a short period of time. Back to you.
Thanks so much for that, Anu. Well, as promised, let's turn our attention to the commodity space. Manisha Gupta joins us to tell us what's going on there. Morning, Manisha.
Morning, Nigel. Thank you. Well, the U.S. crude prices are headed for a weekly gain yet again, and it's tightening global inventories. And the markets believe that the worst of demand loss is now behind us. OPEC also wants to keep the inventories at below 5-year average. So we will see that, step and that effort continuing from them. The only thing that you need to keep an eye on is that the China buying has slowed down after hitting records in June. So whether or not, because much of the crude price rally has come in on the back of Chinese demand, which has been at record highs. So that is a number that the street will keep an eye on. On the other side, the base metal prices have rebounded yet again. It is more about supply disruptions, ample liquidity, demand recovery, and then the data has been supportive because the U.S. retail sales numbers came in positive. The Chinese factory output also have risen. And while the U.S. is not ruling out further sanctions on Chinese officials, the markets also will look out on what the Chinese reaction would be on that. So U.S. and China trade relations is going to be a bit of a dampener. But apart from that, most of the numbers are supportive of further gains in metals.
Okay, all right. Thanks so much for that, Manisha. Well, on that note, we'll wrap up on the show. Here's wishing you a good Friday trading session and a rocking weekend ahead as well. But as we do that, here's some opinion coming in from Christopher Wood of Jefferies on the likely risks to the Indian economy and his view on sectors that are expected to outperform. You listen in. We'll be back with Bazaar Morning Call.
So the big risk for India is the combination of the weak growth, which we already had, and the NBFC liquidity squeeze, coupled with the lockdown. The big risk is that it triggers a consumer lending NPL cycle. So that's my concern for India. That's why I no longer have any Indian bank in my Asia ex-Japan long-only portfolio. It's become an exciting equity story. Again, India needs a new investment cycle. So to me, the best hope for a new investment cycle in India comes from the housing construction sector. But obviously, the lockdown has further delayed the recovery of the property market. I think the residential property market in India has been in a 9-year downtrend.